Once upon a time, in a village on the edge of a deep ocean, lived a poor fisherman. He had a wife and kids who were hungry most days. So he would go out into the deep sea to catch fish to feed his family. But today was different. As he set sail into the deep ocean, the sky turned dark gray, and the wind began to pick up speed. Before he knew it, a massive storm had struck, and waves twice as tall as him crashed over his little boat. It felt like the ocean itself was trying to swallow him whole. The fisherman held on for his dear life as his boat began to capsize. Just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, a giant wave hit, sending him tumbling into the churning waters. As he struggled to keep his head above the surface, he saw the cruel ocean snatching his hard-earned catch from his boat. One by one, his hopes of feeding his family that night were washed away until finally he was rescued by a passing ship. When the fisherman returned to the village that evening, he was more than just wet and cold. His dreams of providing for his family were washed away with the rest of his catch. But when the morning sun peeked over the horizon, he did something that surprised everyone in the village. Instead of staying in the safety of the harbor, he got into his small boat and went back out to the angry ocean. Even though the memory of the previous day's events still fresh in his mind, the villagers watched him go, shaking their heads in disapproval. They didn't understand why he'd risk his life again after losing everything the day before. But the fisherman wasn't thinking about himself. He had to try because there were mouths to feed at home, and he was the only one who could do the job. Each day he ventured further out into the unknown depths, hoping to find a new fishing ground where the nets would bring in a bountiful catch. The weeks turned into months, and still the fisherman persisted. He became a regular sight, a lone figure battling the elements in a tiny boat. People began to forget about him, convinced he'd never return with anything of value. But the fisherman kept at it, driven by the hope of one fish, one crab, or one lobster that could make a difference for his family. Then one day, as the legend goes, the tide shifted. The fisherman's nets came up laden with fish, so many that he had to make several trips back to shore. News of his good fortune spread like wildfire, and people came from neighboring villages to see if it was true. And sure enough, there in the market was the fisherman with his bountiful catch. Enough to not only feed his family, but the entire village. In fact, there was so much, it became known as the miracle catch. From that day on, the fearsome ocean that had tried to claim him as its own became the fisherman's livelihood. Not only did he never have to worry about going hungry again, but neither did anyone in his village. One day, a wise old man sat down with the fisherman and said, "You know, you are the bravest person I know. I watched you go out to sea every day, knowing the danger you faced. Where did you get that courage?" The fisherman looked out at the sea, his eyes twinkling with wisdom. "I'll tell you," he said. "Courage is not the absence of fear. It's not that some people don't feel afraid, it's that they choose to act despite the fear. Every time I went out to sea, I was afraid. But I had to do it. It was a risk I had to take for my family." The old man pondered these words as he made his way back to the village. The fisherman's words echoed in his mind. He realized that courage wasn't something he was born with. It was a choice he made every day, whether it be facing a fear of public speaking, asking someone out on a date, or standing up against injustice. We can all be courageous like the fisherman, not because we have no fear, but because we choose to act despite it. This is the story for today. I will see you in the next video. Bye!